Alrighty. Sammy Hutt cast, episode 3. We're here. We did it. First 2 episodes dropped. Website's up. We're back, baby. Yeah. A lot has happened in the past time since I last recorded one. Lots gone on. It's going to be now a weekly basis, new recordings, no matter how scuffed the audio might be. Truth be told, I don't even know what's going on with it. I'm just trying to figure it out. But hey, we're here. We're here, right? We made it at least. I don't know what's going on after that, but we did it. So yeah, a lot of new stuff going on right now in my life. A lot of new stuff. Had to cut down the beard first and foremost. I know, new look, new me. The beard was kind of just a phase. I'm trying to, I don't know, I guess adult a little bit more. Get a little bit older, look a little bit more professional. Yeah, so the beard, no, gone, goodbye, deleted. That's gone. Mustache only now, you know. What else? Yeah, new car. Yeah, car situation. Last car shit the bed. Had to get a new one. That was a nightmare. Car market's still scuffed right now. These prices. I don't know how people are buying new cars these days. I mean, for like the price for what you pay for, it's ridiculous. And also it's like, I feel like nothing's really made to last, you know? It all feels really cheap and flimsy these days. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but you won't catch me spending between 40 to 60K on a new car. That's just ridiculous. I'd rather go with a used car. Excuse me. I don't know. A lot of stuff going on. Believe it or not, we do have a sponsor. Yeah, Wait and See Comedy. Best comedy in all of Fall River. Shout out to Jenna and Devin for Not really, so they didn't actually sponsor this one. They gave me a free mug, and I asked them, do you want me to give you like a sponsor shout out? They said, sure. I said, all right. Wait and See Comedy. Your best comedy in Fall River, Massachusetts. Yeah, here we are. Thanks again for Jenna and Devin giving me the mug. I appreciate it. Cool having a first sponsor in a way. Not paid, but got some merchandise, so that's something. Yeah, I don't know. Lots going on in my life right now. A lot of things happening. You know, in the last episode, we kind of recapped, talked a lot about what I think's going on with AI in the future. Talking about how, you know, the way things are going in life. And, yeah, you know, it's strange. It's weird. I think it's affecting us in all sorts of different ways. For example, the used car market, you know? Like you see all these people, right? A lot of people, a lot of stuff changing in the industry. And I think it's same with, like, cars right now. It's like back, like, 20 years ago, cars were made to be reliable, made to be dependable, more cheap. Now, I mean, it's like, dude, for what you pay for, it's just garbage, and it's not that great in my opinion. I've seen a lot of the new stuff. I've looked into the specs. I had an option, you know, put down money to buy a new car, but I just think for what you pay for and what you get, it might not be worth it. Nothing wrong with a little secondhand used stuff. Nothing ever wrong with it. Yeah. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of chopped right now. I spent like an hour and a half trying to get this thing set up, only to realize it's like a few button clicks to really get everything going. I don't know. Got a lot of advice and comments from the past previous videos about some issues I've been having. For one, stop touching the mustache. I'll stop. 2, stop saying I don't know and in between everything I say. So we're going to stop doing that, and I keep the conversation going. Keep this between us, you know? Keep this real. And that's really it so far. I don't know. Episode 3, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, but we're here. We made it. What's new? What's new? What's going on? What piqued my interest? What else is new? Besides the car market, besides the haircut, a lot of new stuff coming out about the new consoles coming out soon, the next generation. You know, we got Xbox, we got PlayStation, and we got Steam entering the pit, coming in there, trying to take some jabs at the other competitors. I'm really interested to see what's gonna happen. You know, I'm on PC now. I moved on. I was on the Xbox wave for consoles before. They were really good. You know, 10 years ago, Xbox, right? It was falling a little bit behind PlayStation, but it was still there for the at-home consoles. But now, I feel like what's going on in the industry. I mean, you look at what's going on, right? Like Xbox Game Pass, they upped the prices for that. Um, you could get all the like exclusives on PC and even PlayStation now. I really think the only thing Xbox had it going for it for like recently was like they bought Call of Duty, they got all that stuff under their belt, so anyone who has Game Pass can play the new CODs now, which is cool. I guess. I don't know. Call of Duty is kind of a wash franchise, if you ask me. Like, sure, they got their Warzone, they got the other stuff, but you guys have probably seen the you guys have probably seen the actual anyone who's into gaming has probably seen the final boss fight for COD. The clip recently dropped. Goofy as fuck, terrible in my opinion. It's not really Call of Duty anymore. I don't know what it is. It's something else. And that's what Xbox is right now. Xbox coming in with their next gen stuff. Now, keep in mind, everything I'm about to say is all rumors and not fully speculative, but from a bunch of sources I gathered, um, it's really all just rumors at the end of the day. But I'm just gonna be going over some of the stuff I read about because I don't know. I'm big into gaming. I'm big into that world. I really enjoy it. It's a good pastime. It's a good way to kind of escape from the reality that we live in sometimes. But with these new consoles, it's really interesting to see what's going on. So Xbox is going hybrid with their next gen console. It's going to basically be, now this I do know is supposed to be true. Their next gen console is going to be sort of like a hybrid between a console and online, which makes sense because that's where the wind is going. I think Steam had it done right, where you could get all your games in a one library, easy to access, easy to purchase. You buy it, you click on it, you buy it, boom, download. It's in your library, easy. Yeah, I think Xbox is trying to hop on that wave of trying to be able to have that sort of all in one platform, and now you can play PC games too, which makes sense, but Steam just announced their own gaming device. It's going to be a console that can also play online games. So think about it, like all the PC computer games on that console, which to me is like a crippling blow to Xbox and Microsoft. All right, so let's go over the specs first. We're gonna go over the specs of all the new generation consoles for Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. Believe it or not, these are the big three now. Steam's entering the market. We're gonna go over the specs. Once again, these specs are all not confirmed. This is all just speculative. I can speak English. All speculative. And after we talk about the rough specs, we'll call them the rough specs, we're then going to go over what my thoughts are as a general consumer, as a comic, as someone who isn't really into the specs as much as like the gaming and the accessibility. All right. So we'll start with Xbox. They got a multi-year partnership with AMD for processing. So that means we're going to go into the specs now. Zen 6 CPU with a core. It's going to be mixed with some other versions. A GPU, an AMD 384-bit, all speculative. It's going to be a hybrid console, so you're going to be able to, have that console feeling, but also be able to play on PC, I guess. I don't know if that means online. I'm guessing it's going to be like online where you can play with people on PC. So basically cross-platform, but the console is now meant for it instead of like the console using their programs to make it cross-platform. So it's going to be in the console this time. Multi-store support, which means I guess they're basically just taking a note off of Steam's page. Let's put it all easy access, one list. It's going to roughly come around 2027, 2028. We don't really know yet. All right. PS6. All right, so they're going to have an AMD Zen 5, maybe a Zen 6 for the CPU. The GPU is going to be a Magnus. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm not into the tech world like that. They're going to have large RAM, 2027. That's what they're expecting. And finally, we got the Steam Machine, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Steam coming into the ring with their own platform. They have a lot of details about this. I think these are still rough specs, so don't take my word on it. But it's going to be running on Steam OS with a CPU of an AMD Zen 4 to 6. So a little bit downgraded versus PlayStation and Xbox. GPU, they got their own custom AMD RDNA 3. I don't know what that means. VRAM, 8 gigabytes. GDDR6, I don't know what that means. I do know, though, what this means. RAM, 16 gigabytes. That's what you need right there. 16 gigs, old, reliable. Things to be running not too bad. Storage, apparently it's going to be 512 gigabytes or 2 terabytes, depending on the version. I think that's pretty big. I think it's cool that they're doing not just like the 500 gigabyte, but for the larger version, 2 terabytes of storage. That's pretty big. I think we've seen in previous consoles in the past that they do the 500 and then the 1 terabyte. I think the 2 terabytes is a great idea if they actually make that happen. Rough specs, people. It's going to be 6 times more powerful than the Steam Deck. Now, personally, I haven't used the Steam Deck. I've seen it from some friends playing it. It looks really smooth. I'm a big fan. I've always been a big fan of the hand consoles, going back from the PSP second generation to the Game Boy Advanced. Stuff like that. The DS, the Nintendo stuff. You know, I grew up playing that stuff around 2010s, you know, that and before. So Game Boy Advance before, 2010s, PSP, DS, that era of gaming. Great era, fun era. So when I saw that Steam Deck, genius idea. I think that's really cool. But it's going to be 6 times more powerful. All right. Let's talk about the prices now. Now, this is kind of big for me, right? So I know all my gamers, all my nerds, all my smarty pants, they're all interested in the specs. I'm interested in the prices. Now, as a consumer, working class, making it by, I don't got a ton of money to spend on consoles and PC parts. I'm trying to get the bang for my buck. Now, for Xbox, we're looking around $1,000 or over for a console that does PC functions. What the fuck? That's not realistic. That's not, I don't know, that when I hear someone talking about a console being $1,000 or more, I instantly assume that's for someone who's made it. That's for someone whose father or family or someone who can afford a game system like that has the money to burn. That or is a diehard Microsoft fan, but like I said, the fact that you could get Halo on your PC, Gears of War on your PC on Steam says a lot. There's no real, I don't know. There's no real sort of seclusion for that. Like, you don't have to go on Xbox anymore to play these games that we loved on Microsoft. So the fact that you got to spend over $1,000 for a home console is kind of ridiculous to me. For the PlayStation, from the specs we were talking about, probably the specs looking like the Xbox, maybe a little bit downgraded. I've heard rumors between $500 to $900. I'm guessing a soft spot around $700, which, you know, a little bit pricey, but I think for today's day and age of inflation, $700 is probably going to be the sweet spot. I mean, we all remember back during COVID 2020 when the PS5 was like $500-600. So for it to go to $700, that sounds about right. Wouldn't be surprised if scalpers get their hands on it, raise it to $800. That's that. And then the Steam Machine, baby. That's what I'm talking about. The Steam Machine. So I've heard everything from going possibly to 400 starting to 800 to 1,000. I'm hoping for sweet spot to be 5 or 6. Now, my personal opinion on all these prices and all these consoles is that the Steam machine is essentially gonna be what the new generation of Xbox is gonna be. They from what I could tell from the news, they were released anticipation around the same time. I think if the Steam machine is fairly priced around 5, 6, even 700, it could really do some damage to Microsoft. I mean, it could really do some damage to the console as a whole. I think Xbox has been kind of just gliding along with their name, same as the Call of Duty series, just gliding along, going with it. They don't really care. They're just gonna give you some cool thing, call it cool, and then try and sell you it as much money as they possibly can. I just don't see the Xbox console as a cost efficient way to spend your money. I just think, sure, the console with the specs are supposed to, they're going to maintain for the next 10 years or so for all these new games coming out apparently. But I just feel like, I mean, we've already had such a big leap already with technology and for the specs of games. I mean, I just I don't see how spending over $1,000 on a console hybrid is worth that type of money. I think the Steam machine could definitely do not a knockout blow, but definitely give Microsoft a reality check on what they're making and what the prices are going to be, and not prices are going to be, but what they're making and what the quality of the product is and what they're doing. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. I don't want Microsoft to go away with their consoles. I don't want that to disappear. I want them to get better. We need that competition in the marketplace, We need something to really get Xbox back on their toes, back again innovating with new games, cuz lately with I haven't played any of the new Halo games. I just heard they're not good. I haven't heard about any Xbox exclusive games in a while. Like, I haven't heard anything hot about it. Everything hot coming out these days online for games is all on PC or even PlayStation. Now, going back to PlayStation, I think PlayStation, if they price it right with that soft spot of 700, easy, it's going to be stable. People love Sony. People are fine with paying for the online subscription. To me, I look back at it when I was a kid, when I was young, when I first got my first console. I got an Xbox 360, a couple $100. You paid for the live. You got a couple of games on disc. For what you pay, for what you got, and that console lasted between 5 to 10 years for most people. It was a good deal, and I think what PlayStation is doing is they're doing the right thing. I don't know if PlayStation's gonna be a hybrid or not. I don't know why PlayStation would want to be a hybrid, because I just think that at-home console feeling is what people are kind of looking for, and that's what Microsoft is kind of getting away from. They're trying to get more online with it, but like I said, the issue is the Steam machine is going to be covering that, and if they can beat the price out of Microsoft, if they could price it lower than what the Microsoft, the new generation Xbox is, I think they could really do some damage on their sales. I think Steam could end up swooping in, grabbing whatever existent Xbox Microsoft players are. They could swoop in and just take them all in. You know what I mean? I definitely do think that it could be a big blow to Microsoft if Steam is able to price it right. Because, I mean, if you look at what's going on between the two consoles with the Steam machine and with the new Xbox, they're essentially the same thing on paper. Not the specs. The Microsoft Xbox specs are going to be a lot better, but for what you pay, you might as well just buy a PC at that point. You might as well buy a pre-used PC or try and build your own. My biggest thing about these consoles is that people are going to buy these consoles for the convenience, like if you got an average family, the son's kind of into gaming, kind of into the phone games these days. No one's really doing handheld devices anymore besides older generation people like my age and older. You got a kid who wants to get into that gaming world, who's at that age, and you got a working class father. You got just a father, not even working class, just a father He's looking to get the best bang for his buck. And he does just a tiny bit of research to see, okay, we got PlayStation, we got Xbox, and we got Steam. And maybe the kid wants something that can kind of, play with his friends who have PCs online. And, oh yeah, by the way, these two consoles can connect you to these online PC games. I think the father, if he did enough research, would go with the Steam, because not only the price is better, the platform in general is way better. See what Xbox and Microsoft are trying to do, from what I looked at online, is that they're trying to integrate their gaming system. So all these different, you got to go to, I don't know how, I guess if you want to play Fortnite on the PC or something, you usually, if you don't go through Steam, you got to go through their gaming platform, whoever owns Fortnite, right? You go to that website and then you click down. It's like Minecraft, Minecraft back in the day. Like, oh, you want to play Minecraft? Go on the Minecraft website and then you buy it and download it off the website. With Steam, you're able to just go on Steam, on the app, on your PC, because you downloaded Steam. They're on Steam. You can buy it off the shop, and then you can then download it into the PC. And whenever you want to play the game, if it's on your home page for your PC and your home, click on it. If not, you go on Steam, click your library, and you click play on the game you want to play. I guess what Microsoft is trying to do is they're trying to do that. They're trying to make it easier, which is not a great selling point. So let me get something straight. We're going to pay an extra $300, $400, maybe even $500, depending on what the final prices are going to be, to just have it an easier interface. Are you kidding me? That's it? Some better specs. I guess I can play online with PC players now, and that's what I get. I just, realistically, I don't see, excuse me. I just don't see a lot of people who have kids, or people who are kind of into the gaming world but don't want a PC, who want a console, who are going to go out and buy a console to look at, all three of them, PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam, and go, you know what? I like playing console games, and I kind of want to go online and play with these PC people on some indie games. Let me go with the Xbox. It just doesn't make sense. Anyone realistically would look at all three and say, okay, what am I looking for? I just want a console. I just want the traditional console. They'd go with PlayStation. Okay, let's say, I want to play the traditional console style, but I also want to play some indie games with my friends and play these PC exclusive games. Okay, so that cuts out PlayStation. Now it's the Steam machine or the new Xbox. They're going to go with the Steam machine. It doesn't make any sense. Why would I go with the Xbox? Better specs? Bro, if the Steam machine picks up in 5 years, they're going to upgrade the specs anyways. They're going to add upgrades. I think you might even be able to add your own upgrades to the Steam machine itself, But I'm not too sure. This is all speculative. Rough ideas. That's what we're going to call it. While I was looking at these videos online about, the new Xbox versus the new Steam machine, because that's really the big competitiveness right now. I think Sony is in their own lane. They got it down right now. I don't know how long they're going to have it down with their own style. They might eventually have to switch to like a hybrid system, but, regarding Sony and just the way they do their things, they got a good system. If it ain't broke, why fix it? But I was looking at an interview with the CEO and head chairman of Microsoft, and he was talking a lot about why the Xbox is going to be top tier. And we're actually going to pull up the video right now. That's what we're going to do. We're going to pull up the video, and I'm going to show you guys what this guy's talking about. What's he going on about? And I'll also give you a breakdown, not a stupid person breakdown, but an average Joe breakdown of what's going on. What is he talking about? All right, so let's take a look.
First of all, now we're the largest publisher.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's automatically a lie. I don't actually know. I don't know if he is the largest. Microsoft is the largest publisher, but let me tell you right now, Steam is dropping indie games every other day like they're hotcakes at a Waffle House at 3 a.m. You know, hot shit always dropping. You see these streamers always coming out with new content, new clips, new funny stuff from these indie games that are popping off. I think Steam is the largest publisher right now. All right, so let's keep going with this.
After the Activision. So we want to make sure whether it's consoles, whether
Okay.
it's the PC, whether
Okay.
it's mobile, whether it's cloud
Okay.
gaming, we want to, or the TV. So we just want to make sure
Okay.
the games are being enjoyed by gamers everywhere. Second,
so what he's saying right there is, I don't care what it takes, I'm going to take your money. That's it. He doesn't actually care about how much gamers enjoy the console, or, you know, whether it's cloud gaming, whether it's like streaming, whether it's on the phone or this or that. We want the best game. No, he wants to just take as much money as he can out of your pocket, drag it into his, and call it a day's work for producing an overpriced Steam machine, essentially. All right, so let's keep going. Let's keep seeing. If he could get paid to throw you into a slaughterhouse and make $5 off it, he would do that. All right, let's keep going.
you also want to do innovative work in the system side.
No, they don't. Nothing new is innovative. This idea of this idea of making a console that's a hybrid should have been thought up for a while now. They've been so behind on this innovative work that Steam themselves is coming out with their own hybrid. Nothing about this is innovative. This is the new norm. This is where it's going. Everything's going online, guys. All right, so let's keep going.
On the console and on the PC. Yeah. And it's kind of funny that, people think about the console, PC as two different things. We built the console because we wanted to...
Because it is. Because the console and the PC is two different things. The PC is more advanced for gamers who are more into the fine details, for more the down low games you don't really see on console. It's for the indie games. It's for the people who like the details, people who like the specifications. It's for my engineers. It's for my tradesmen. It's for my architects. It's for my white collar hustlers. It's for anyone. PC is for anyone who's really creative about their gaming, who wants to get a bang for their buck. You can get pre-made PCs and treat it like it's a console. You could create your own PC, have your own creative imagination behind it. The PC I'm using right now was a custom-made one from somebody. It's second or third hand owned. I bought it for $500 in a school parking lot from a guy I went to trade school with. Best investment I've ever made. I've had this console this PC console, I've had this PC for over 5 years. Old, reliable, does me right. It's great. Console. Why people buy consoles? You don't have to do anything. They auto-update. You don't have to worry about updating the RAM, which doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, there's some people who just don't get it and who don't want to get it. They don't want to understand what all the specifications are. The console is meant to be, you plug in 2 cords, you hop on the couch, you drink your big gulp, you eat your slop bowl, and you play the PC, or you play the console. That, or it's for kids whose parents, it's Christmas. He wants to play some video games on the TV. We'll get him a console. It's easy to take care of, and it's usually price affordable. That's what consoles are. This new Xbox isn't any of that, besides it being plug and play. It's gonna be around $1,000 to $1,200. You're gonna get some better graphics, but like with a Steam machine estimated to be between $1,000 or less. To me, it just makes more sense to go with the PC. All right, let's continue with the video.
Build a better PC, which could then perform for gaming.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't give a fuck about the better PC. He just cares about the money. If he can throw some higher end specs into the PC to make a charge more, charge an extra $300, he's going to do that. They're going to do that. They're going to take every dollar you can make, and they're going to take that, and they're going to put it in your own pocket. Oh, you want to play the new Fast and Furious 7? Get the Xbox. No, Fast and Furious 7, it's a movie. If you want to, honestly, I don't even know. Like, why would you get an overpriced console that can have PC functions when your competitor is selling the same thing for a cheaper price with honestly probably a better interface? That's what it is. All right, let's keep going.
Console has an experience that is unparalleled.
Yeah. Perform for gaming. All right, it's still going to crash. Let's keep going.
It delivers performance that's unparalleled. That pushes, I think, the
system. That
is
true. Console gaming is way different than PC gaming, although I got to say, PC gaming, 100 times better. PC gaming is unparalleled with console gaming. Console gaming is easy mode. PC gaming is medium mode using Linux OS hard mode. I don't know. Let's keep going.
Forward. So I'm really looking forward to the next console.
No, it doesn't. You could get a way higher end PC for probably only a couple $100 more. And it'll do 10 times more processing power, more functions than a console can do. Even with this new Gen Xbox thing, buying a PC, spending a couple, $300 more than what you would pay for a new Gen Xbox could do way more stuff. All right, let's keep going.
PC gaming, but most importantly, the game business model.
I don't know about that. He's looking forward to taking more cash out of his pocket, out of your pocket, is what he's saying. That's what he's saying. He's happy to rake in as much dough as these idiots will give him. That's what he's getting at. They're riding on a dream right now. It's all hype. It's all astroturfed. Nothing about this is grassroots. The Steam machine, baby, grassroots. They tried it before. They messed up. They're coming back. They figured out the issues. It's going to be 10 times better than ever. That's what I'm predicting right now. This is all predictions. So let's keep going. Okay, that's enough of that. So let's hide this quickly. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. Long story short, Microsoft is going to rake in as much cash as they can from you. They're going to treat you like cows to the slaughter. They just don't give a rat's ass. And that's what it is. Why would they care? They're a corporation. They don't care. You know who does care? Steam does. I know. It's crazy. Steam cares. Steam actually cares about the consumer. Steam has a good thing. Why change it and mess up when it's working? Let's try and add some upgrades. By the way, Steam, they're going to have their own VR headset. That's big. VR is still a thing. They're going to have their own controller with their own functions to allow you to play these PC games. That's tried and tested, apparently. That's supposed to be good. And to top it all off, I think it's still going to be in that affordability range of what would you rather pay? Like $1,200-$1,300 for a console that's slightly, that's kind of better than a Steam machine? Or would you rather pay $500-$700 for a console that, sure, graphics and stuff might be downgraded, but you can still play all these games that are out right now? So, I'm sure gaming is going to take a huge leap in the next 5 years, as it always does with technology. It's going to take a huge leap, but I think upgrading the Steam machine isn't going to be too difficult, like with all things. We've seen it with Microsoft before. We've seen them drop, the Xbox One to the Xbox One S to the Xbox One X. They've dropped different variations of their same console with upgrades over time to just be able to put up with the graphics power of all these new games. And I think the Steam machine could 100% do the same thing. So on a consumer standpoint about all these new consoles, I would say if you're looking for that traditional console feel, you're fine with paying an online subscription because you want to play the games that you love, PlayStation's for you. It's probably going to be that old reliable, you know what I mean? It's going to PlayStation for all those gamers who just aren't really too into the hybrid gaming, who aren't into the PC stuff. PlayStation's going to be old reliable. Now, for the new wave of hybrid console playing, I think Steam Machine will come out on top as long as they undercut the price of Xbox. I think it'll 100% sell way more. The price beats it. Sure, Xbox might have better graphics and somewhat better computing power, but for the average console player, I just think that the Steam Machine makes way more sense physically, logically. Sure, a little bit downgraded specs, but I think when you save a couple $100, it's gonna make the difference in the long run. And I don't even know if GTA 6 is going to be ready for the next gen stuff. You know what I mean? I don't even know what's going on with that. That's one of the big things. GTA 6, what's happening with that? I don't know. But I think the Steam Machine will be able to play it. I think the Steam Machine will come out on top. I think and he briefly said that Xbox has the most publishing. I don't think that's. I think they're not considering the indie games that comes out on PC. Like PC indie games are so important to the streaming community, to the online community, to games in general. Like indie games being able to it's like a small business, right? Small business. It's so important in the States, so important to our to everything, because the small business is that hey, I can do my own thing and make so much. No, it can do so good. It can make so much money versus these big game studios that almost box themselves in with how much they have to spend and what they're creating. Like we look at some of these new not PC games, but we look at some of these hot games that came out this year for console, like that Star Wars game, that Indiana Jones game. I don't know any popular clips or streamers that really went over and said, "Yo, this is it." No, it's all been indie games. It's been like Schedule One, it's been Peak, it's been RV There Yet. It's just been a lot of these indie games and these indie developer teams, small teams that are pumping out these games that, sure, it might not have a ton of content like these big mainstream AAA games, but the replayability is so good. The amount of fun you can have, and it just goes to show how, when you look at streamers and what they're doing and what they're, what's going on like Twitch, Kick, whatever streaming service, who's playing what, when you take a look at what these streamers are playing, it's indie games, it's indie games, and it's maybe some other, somewhat mainstream developer, the guys who maybe made like Arc Raiders or something like that, which is, by the way, on PC. You know what I mean? So sure, Xbox will have that hybrid feeling, but I just think that with the Steam machine, it just makes more sense, both economically and logically, to go with that. Oh man, I don't know how long I want this podcast episode to be. This is kind of just getting back in my groove. Took a couple of weeks off. Just trying to feel out what I want to talk about. Get back in that podcast rhythm. By the way, the website is up right now, sammyhutt.com. You can find all the new podcast episodes on there. You can find the shorts on there. Links are up. Everything is up right now. We're at it. We're running with our feet on the ground. I have no idea how long I've been. Okay, so we've been about doing this for maybe like 30, 40 minutes so far. In my previous episodes, we talked a lot about how, the trades, AI can't replace it. Robots ain't going to take it anytime soon. We need our tradesmen. Don't forget the architects. All right. I saw the comments. I was listening. Shout out to the architects. We need them. I couldn't imagine AI designing architecture. It would probably just be cubes and slop. Kind of like what these new PC consoles are looking like, just a bunch of cubes. I don't know. I work in the city of Boston. I do electrical work over there. And you look at these old buildings that were built back in the day, these old Victorian era terracotta roofs. I mean, brownstone bricks, absolutely beautiful. These architects, they also, they account for stuff like the wind, for the temp, for all the real nitpicky stuff that the tradesmen, we don't want to deal with that. We don't want to deal with the headache of all that. That's all the architect's job, my boys. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I look at these new consoles coming out, and it all really comes back around to like the designs and obviously the specs and the price point. But if you look at like the designs of it all too, I think that makes the difference, because these consoles and PCs are like home decor. You know what I mean? Like, I had a buddy of mine come over the weekend, and we were hanging out, and he took a look at my gaming setup, and he's like, "Yo, that's crazy." I said, "I know, right?" But these gaming devices that we have in our houses are really decora. So I think when you have, like, for example, an ugly looking, like, let's say, like, not the PS5 isn't ugly. In fact, it's really good looking. It's slick, it's slender, it's got all these different shapes to it, it's curvy, it's nice. You got the Xbox. looks like a brick. I don't I don't know. It's kind of ugly compared to the 360 and even the original. Um I don't know. It's just sorry. I know I said I'd stop saying I don't know during the podcast, but episode 3, we're working on it. The Xbox looks like a brick. You know, the Xbox, it's ugly. It's gross. It reminds me of my PC, but at least my PC's got some colors, flashing lights to it. RGB LED colors, dude. I don't know. What I do know is that the designs of these consoles, I'm hoping for something good here. See, I kind of like the Steam Machine. It looks like a brick. It's like not a brick, but like a cube. It's got apparently these magnetic snap-on and off face covers. It's got a little LED strip for that futuristic look. I think what's going on is we're definitely hitting that modern era look of stuff where things are going to be more flat edges, not really slender. And I miss the look that the 2000s had, you know? Like I talked about it earlier about how, you know, we had all these handheld devices and we had all these really cool interfaces. Like, for example, the Xbox 360, the interface on that console, beautiful, one of a kind, legendary. You have your little like Bitmoji guy, your little character on the screen floating around. He's on the side. You get to swipe through all the games. It looked cool. It had that sort of look to it, that sort of like futuristic with grass, with nature look to it from, you know, that was popular around 2000s to 2012. Now, I mean, dude, I went on Xbox recently, dude, and it's just all cubes. It's all square. It's all edges. It's ugly. It's gross. It's gross to the eye, you know? And that's what modern architecture is like. I think a lot of these new buildings that are being built way too cubey, way too modernistic looking. You can't just build a cube of a building, slap a modern design on it with some flashy title on the building, and then rent a studio apartment for $3,000 a month. That's gross. That's hideous. Ew. Unfortunately, people are gonna pay for that, and it is what it is. You know. People eat the slop if it's called modern. I don't know what to tell you. That's just what it is. It's tough. It's tough. I miss the looks of like the 2010s era gaming. I miss the looks of having that nature and that futuristic feel to it. Not modernism, but that futuristic flow of like how things looked. I think this podcast episode, I'm gonna try and put some pictures up of like what I'm talking about. We'll see what happens during production. But if I end up putting up the images of what I want to show you guys, I'll show you what I'm talking about exactly. But just that feeling of the interface, you know, that's what really matters to me. The design of the console or whatever it is that runs the program, and then the program itself in that interface. That's what matters to me. I think like Steam, for example, Steam's kind of weird. Steam is old reliable. They never changed it. They always had that look. It wasn't a look of modernism. It wasn't a look of futuristic and nature. It has its own feeling to it, you know, like you click on the app, it's gray, it's got the, you know, all the games to the side. It's basic. It's that interface. I talked to a guy one time at a job site, some 60-year-old dude who's still working for some reason. I don't even know why he's working, but he did it. He did it for the love of the game, you know? Some old heads are like that. They keep working because they got nothing else going on, and maybe they want a couple of bucks in their pocket. And we were talking, and he's telling me about how the future of, like, PCs and stuff, what's going to end up happening is everything. So basically, in the future, you're going to put on your goggles or whatever, and it's going to be one big interface. And that's where you click on things. There's no side scrolling. There's no clicking on multiple buttons. It's just right there. And that's what it is. And that's what it kind of is today, though, with it all. That's what they're trying to make it. I mean, that's what Microsoft is trying to do with the new Xbox console. The one of the selling points I heard on these videos was, from now on, what they're going to do is they're going to have all the different, you know, programs that you have to click on and download for the games to be on one big homepage. Isn't that neat? That's what Steam has been doing this whole time, dude. That's what they've been doing. That's what it has been, you know? they're finally catching on to it now. I mean, I don't think we got to go into this futuristic idea of having one big glob on your screen and clicking on it. Like, we could have some definition to it. But it's almost, it kind of reminds me of like they're trying to aim for like that PlayStation look, but like less of that feel to it, more of their own twist on it. But the twist is just horrendous. It's just not it. They gotta have their own thing, I think. I don't know what it is. It'd be cool if they went back to the roots and had that grassroots feeling of that futuristic nature vibe, like the 360 and the original Xbox had with the colors and sort of the round shapes to it, made it cool. But they're trying to go with more of the modern design, trying to like hook on to that PC audience, looking for that hybrid. It's just not it. I don't know. And that's what modern architecture really is. Modern architecture is really just, here's a cube or a brick or whatever shaped building, throw some modern labeling and modern designs on it and slap a heavy price tag on it, and that's what it's going to be. I don't know. I think it's gross. I'm not a big fan. It is what it is though, you know? It is what it is. Ugh. That's what's on my mind right now. That's what's on my mind. I really just want to talk about the new gaming stuff this episode. But what else is going on in my life? What else is happening? I don't know. It's cool. I've been getting some views. I appreciate you guys for checking out the videos, checking out the shorts, getting me on there. I plan on doing streaming soon. I plan on really trying to come out the cuff with it. Like I talked about in my last episode, I think comedy, the way to actually succeed in comedy besides the mainstream route, which is dying, you know, modern media is dying, all the legacy media is dying. It's all boomer stuff. Boomers are the only ones who have cable. Boomers are the only one watching these mainstream legacy media stuff. Legacy media is trying to get that internet hype, you know, like you see all the, oh, this event, the gala is happening. Here it is on Twitter, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's going to stick around. Like, we're still going to have our movies. We're still going to have our TV shows. People still want to ingest in their shows and stuff. But I think like comedy, for example, is going online, and that's where I need to be, because I love stand-up. I love the game. I love doing comedy. I love seeing all my people. I love seeing people's faces when I do my art. But it just doesn't pay the bills. You know, it just doesn't, like, even if I start getting booked, I still got to work a full-time job. It's not like what it was 20 years ago where you're so good, you could get some headlining stuff, you could get some features. You go a couple nights, you know, like you could do a couple of nights of just like one night, you could do a couple of shows and bing, bada, boom, that pays the bills. No, that's not it anymore. Everyone's broke. Everyone's got to work a job now and stand up. It's brutal. You see these guys who have been in the stand-up game for over 10 years. They're still working a day job. I'm not saying they haven't made it. A lot of these guys have made it in their own way, in the local scene at least. But you still gotta work that 9 to 5. You know, you still gotta hustle to pay rent. And I think with online, if you really tap into the online scene, I think, for example, streaming. I think streaming is now the new sort of TV, like the new sort of cable. I mean, obviously, like streaming shows and stuff, and Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, that's cable. But I think these independent streamers doing their own stream is kind of like what sitcoms are to comics back in the 2000s and 90s. Like, you do stand-up comedy, you get your hours set, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, you do a comedy festival or two, and you're really good. You're hitting it. A producer's going to come up to you, talk about that sitcom idea, and then bing, bada, boom. You're doing your set in this sitcom, and that's how you get paid. But that's not how it is anymore. No one watches sitcoms. No one really cares. Who would care? So when you see these streamers, you know, streaming to a couple thousand to a couple hundred people, being able to pay the bills, obviously, to me, that's where entertainment is heading. Entertainment is heading towards either independent streamers doing their own thing, and if you're going the more legacy route, or even not, sorry, let me go back a step. You got streamers doing their own thing. You got your TikTok comedians, your sketch comics doing the shorts. That's where sketch comedy is now. That's where that improv is now. Improv isn't as much on, like, you could practice it on stage and still do it, but it's translated over to the shorts. Like, you take a look at it and you think on it for a second, you go, oh, these guys are improving. They probably write a little bit, but they're really just improving. They have a couple things written down, and that's their sketch. That's where sketch comedy is, on the shorts. Then you got your legacy media, which is obviously your shows, in legacy as in like getting away from actual cable networks to Netflix, Hulu, et cetera, et cetera. You got your shows on there. I mean, you got sketch comics even doing their own shows. Like, hey, I think you should leave. I think that's a great example of how a comic who had sketch ideas eventually got onto Netflix, which is sort of like cable, did a show on there, and that's how he made some of his money like that. Like that's a great example of how things like entertainment is going online. It's all going online. And that's why to me it's important to like really do this podcast, to really start platforming myself. Eventually we're going to get on streaming. Eventually we're going to do this and that. But for right now, brick by brick, we're going to build up to it. And that's what being a early on content creator, a content art creator. I'm an artist, bro. Put some respect on my name. Not really. I suck. But that's what it is. That's what I'm all about. You know, I'm trying to just start breaking into the scene. I see where the weather's headed. I see where the tides are turning. It's online, and that's what I'm trying to get to. Oh, and I don't know. That's where my life is right now. You know, that's where my life is heading. Like, I'm trying to get books. I'm still trying to get booked. I need to start getting my neck out there and talk to some bookers. Need to keep working on the stand-up because that's the art I love. Stand-up is what brought me to doing podcasting. And eventually I'm going to be breaking into streaming really soon. And that's sort of the plan right now. We got the podcast, we got the stand-up. We're eventually, gonna get onto the streaming. And then I think finally I'm going to do some sketch comedy, some short vids, go back to like 2010 YouTube with the sketch videos. I kind of like that format. I like to break into it more, but I think trying to learn about how to make actual videos and produce it is like a whole nother animal. Like everything I'm doing here is sort of like a brick by brick thing. Like I started with stand up like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, how to write jokes, how to be funny, how to talk. Okay. Now I did that. I learned a little bit of that. I'm onto that. I'm working on that. But it's like now I can also do podcasting. I learned how to talk a little bit more. Now I just got to learn the programs. Boom, we're podcasting. Now, eventually, I want to get onto streaming, learn how to use the programs. I'm already using some of the programs, but I think learning how to do that is going to be big. And then after that, once I learn all that stuff, I can finally move on to producing sketch videos. And that's what I plan on heading to. I plan on going online. That's where the weather's turning. Comedy is going to be online. Give it 10 to 20 years. We're still going to have our in live stuff. We're still going to have our live performances.